QualityGains, the Fight Club Expose! Fight Club is a classic movie because of scenes ranging from
things you own end up owning you.
to
Is that your blood? Some of it, yeah.
Yet the movie itself is not about fighting. What Fight Club truly is about is the questioning of your beliefs. Today we're gonna do that by breaking 2 cardinal rules of Fight Club. We are gonna talk about Fight Club and we're gonna do it in a fancy way. The protagonist of Fight Club suffers from intense insomnia. He suffers so hard that he can't sleep for months, yet his doctor doesn't seem to care.
You need to lighten up.
It makes it nearly impossible for him to differentiate between reality and dreaming. He's going to multiple support groups of various diseases because being around real, tangible suffering makes him feel better. Lesson number 1, which we have touched upon in previous videos. Have perspective. Know how blessed you are, even if you're going through hell. The current time in history is awesome. You're not jumping out of planes, fighting against Hitler or Stalin. The standard of living is so high for so many people. Robert Herjavec, millionaire and entrepreneur, thought about suicide after his divorce, until he started to work at homeless shelters to regain perspective on his life and how blessed he truly is.
There's only 500 of these things.
Not quite. There's only, I think, a couple hundred now.
Oh, wow.
So go to a crappy neighborhood near you to gain some perspective. The first tactic works wonders until this woman called Marla came around and destroyed everything.
If I did have a tumor, I'd name it Marla.
The protagonist stopped losing perspective because Marla reminded him that he's just faking his suffering to feel good about himself.
Marla. The little scratch on the roof of your mouth that would heal if only you could stop tonguing it, but you can't.
On a business trip he then meets Tyler Durden, which turned out to be an alternate identity of himself.
Because we're the same person.
That's right.
Tyler introduced him to fighting after the flat of the protagonist gets blown up. The protagonist finds out that fighting relieves his insomnia and goes onto a path to discover real suffering. From living in the shithole of a flat
What a shithole.
and consciously underperforming at his job,
I showed this already to my man here. You liked it, didn't you?
to beating himself up with the deterioration of his own body.
Hey, even the Mona Lisa's falling apart.
Lesson number 2. While suffering is a great teacher and hitting rock bottom is a great place to build a fundament on, you also don't want to overdo it. Charlie Munger, a self-made billionaire, said, "Avoid the extremes." The protagonist in Fight Club went from the extreme consumeristic nature to the complete opposite, absolutely neglecting the middle way. Tyler, the alternate identity of the protagonist, is even more crazy. At one hand, forcing the protagonist, therefore himself, to burn his hand, going through immense pain.
It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything.
You shouldn't go to these extremes because you still want to fit in socially. It's simple, avoid buying stuff that you don't need, therefore avoid going into debt, and on the other hand, avoid careless behavior and self-destruction. Do what's hard and your life will be easy. Do what's easy and your life will be hard. If you would be threatening your boss with shooting the whole place up, you will be going to prison. Find a middle way. The good thing is, the protagonist noticed in the end that destruction is going too far. The narrator even noticed that fighting is not curing his insomnia, instead it makes stuff worse. A member of his team has been killed and Tyler, the dark side of the narrator, is trying to blow up the credit card buildings to bring the debt of everyone to zero. And this is probably the biggest misconception of Fight Club and Tyler in my opinion. It just dawned on me that most of the Fight Club and Project Mayhem members desire anarchy because of a position of weakness, not of strength. They hate the system they live in and want to destroy it, yet they never seem to take a cold hard look in the mirror and think, maybe I'm the problem here, maybe I should start working on myself.
Like a monkey ready to be shot into space.
There's a famous saying, the grapes that you can't reach are always sour. It's natural to tell yourself that you don't want what you can't seem to get. That's why I'm not a friend of MGTOW. Do you stop pursuing women from a position of strength? Or do you do it out of weakness? Do you hate rich people because they act unethically sometimes? Or do you hate them because they started 3 businesses and failed in all of them? I have been there too, man. I'm trying to help you here. Yes, our current capitalistic system is far from perfect, but it has created a standard of living for most of us that our ancestors just dreamed about. So ask yourself, is the problem in the system or is it in you? This may sound harsh, but the reason you're in debt is not because of the government, your mother, or your imaginary friend, but because of you not knowing how to manage money properly. Spend less money than you earn and pay off your credit cards each month. Ask yourself behind every purchase, do you truly need it, or is it something that I buy to look cool? If you're in debt or don't have at least 1k of emergency fund, you only buy stuff you absolutely need. It's not rocket science. Yes, it's not as easy as it sounds, and yes, there are some people that just have bad luck. People that were born in the wrong place at the wrong time with bad genetics. But there's no value in seeing yourself as a victim and creating suffering consciously with your actions. Do decisions from a position of strength. Fight Club is an awesome movie, not because of the unexpected plot twist, the chiseled body of Brad Pitt or the amazing acting, but because it makes you question your existence. It brings you perspective by showing how blessed you are. It can show you that suffering is a great teacher, but that you should avoid the extremes. And it also teaches you that you have to do decisions from a position of strength. I honestly think that if you would blow up the credit card buildings and strip away the money from most people, that 10 years from now, the order would be the same. Because while you're focused on hating the system and trying desperately to tear everything down with it, someone is mastering the rules until he's in a position to break them. Because only if you break the rules, you can talk about Fight Club in the first place.